What's up, guys, and welcome back. And today we're looking at how to improve your characters. So the last video we looked at, team formations, things like that. But today we're going to be talking about the characters themselves. I see a lot of questions out there about force talents, stars, levels, all of that kind of stuff. What do they mean? And we're going to be breaking down all of that on this video. All right, guys. So we've got three areas to look at when it comes to making your character have more power, be more useful in your teams. And these are going to be your champion itself. So your stars, your levels that are going on with your champion. We've got the gear. So again, what's going to help them boost up their damage in there and what you're looking for in gear. And then the last one's going to be the force. But I want to start with just the basic stuff when it comes to your characters, which is your levels. Now, it's kind of a no duh. You want to have the highest level possible. Just keep in mind what your levels are doing is they're adding to your base stats, your attack, your defense, your health, all that stuff. And it's really important to remember that you want to kind of creep up your characters all together in a group. So you can see right here, I've got my Superman, my Green Lantern. They're way above the others, but I've got the other ones. So Flash, Batman, and Aquaman, they're all inching at the same level. And the reason why I do this is because of the level sync. The other characters that are being synced are going to be equal to the lowest characters. So you can see they're all equal to this Aquaman or this Batman, right? The 512. So sometimes a lot of people just go and say, hey, I'm going to max out Superman, then Green Lantern, then Flash, then Batman. But what we're missing out on is by putting all of our experience into those characters and not doing it evenly across the board, the rest of our teams, the rest of our characters, they're going to lag behind until that final character gets all the way to the top. So just one of those things to think about. And remember, you want to make sure that they're all going up the same. Early on, this probably isn't that big of a problem, but I can guarantee you where I'm at right now at War Room 34, it's very difficult. 33, 34, any of the high 30s or I guess low 30s is when you really stop having all of that experience points kind of sitting around to use. So just kind of a tip and a trick right there of make sure you kind of go across the board so that all your other characters also move up with them at the same time. All right. So the next thing I want to talk about is stars. Stars are very important. And again, I'm going to have other videos in the future where I'm breaking down each of the characters, letting you know where I think you want to be optimally with your stars. But I wanted to just make a blanket statement. You really want to get everybody to 5 stars. This is really important because this unlocks all of your skills for that particular character. It's also very important to hit to the 3-star mark because the 3-star mark is going to give your global benefits for all your other characters. So you can see right now, this particular global is giving all my Justice League Dark champions extra HP, but some of these champions actually give bonuses to all of your characters, whether it's attack, HP, defense, crits, all kinds of cool stuff within there. So you want to make sure that you are seeing what their globals are. And those upgrade every 3rd star of each of the colors. So at a minimum, you want to get everybody to 3 stars so that you can at least unlock the globals. But realistically, if you're ever going to try to use the character, you really want at least the 5 white stars so that you have their full kit to be able to use in a battle. So just keep that in mind as you're going through and you're leveling these different characters. There are reasons, and you can always look. It'll tell you what the next thing is, the next unlock based on the color. And you want to focus in on what those benefits are to understand, should I go to the next star, whether it's the Mythic Plus and using the bleed to try to get to them, or trying to target them with your free tickets where you can pick the different Mythic that you want to go after. So just kind of keep that in mind. Stars really tie back to your skills and what your skills are going to do, whereas your levels really tie back to your stats on the character. All right, so moving on to gear. Gear is another big thing that, boosts your stats. These are pretty easy because you can usually just use the quick equip on everything, but I would recommend starting whenever you're doing your quick equip, start with the 5 characters you use the most, then the next 5 again with the team, and then from there you can kind of just pick and choose however you want to with your quick equip, but you want to make sure the best equipment's going to at least the first 5 that you're always using. In there, you have different levels of gear. The Mythic Plus or the best gear is this level 500 gear. And then your best gear overall is going to be that 500 gear that also has a tag. And of course, the tag matching your particular character group. So you can see here, I've got the belt. That's Justice League. Now I'm going to do a video probably next week, actually breaking down the whole transmute process of gear, because I know there's some questions out there of how do you do it? What should I do? How should I do it? Because there's a lot of pieces when it comes to transmute that you have to use to be able to do that, to unlock all the different stuff. So I'm going to do another video where I actually have all my equipment. We'll start to run through some stuff, transmute it, and kind of talk through some of the goods and bads and what you're looking for in those particular pieces. But did want to point out, again, your gear is important. Remember that there's 3 different types of gear that are based on the type of character as you're going through. So you just want to make sure you're always building that gear and equipping it the way you want. The other thing I'll point out is the specialized relics here, or the Superman's cape items that you want. So you do want to make sure that you are saving up your magic eyes and understanding which character you're going to focus on to buy your first piece. So again, whether it's Superman's cape, Joker's cane, Constantine's seal, whatever it may be, whatever character you're using the most is the one you want to focus in on. And of course, you can upgrade these through casting, but these are going to be things that you probably first just want to get a bunch of them on your characters before you start focusing in on 1 or 2 and upgrading the stars on that particular cast. Now, when I do my character breakdown of each character, kind of going through gear, force, and all of that, I'll also talk about which are the best ones to equip on those slots. But for now, I would say just kind of use what's in the game or anything that you've seen over in the Discord or something like that. So the last thing is force. I get a lot of questions around force that I've been seeing out there of what should I do with my force? How should I invest in them? And a lot of times it's going to depend on the character themselves. But I think there's some kind of rules of thumb. There's kind of 3 different categories of force abilities that you're going to use and you want to focus in on in each of the tiers. So we'll talk through those. But before we get there, I just want to kind of remind you guys that when you use force, you can't undo it. So this isn't anything that you ever get back. So really keep that in mind when you start to invest in a character. So as an example, a lot of people use a character like Poison Ivy, right? But if you're not using a lot of Arkham's Most Wanted, or maybe you actually have Green Lantern, or you're going for Justice League Dark with Raven, if you're not using Poison Ivy anymore, all that force that you've put in there maybe was a wasted thing. Now, Ivy is a really good character, so maybe that's less of something that would be a waste of an investment. But let's say you're using Shazam as a big tank, but now you're replacing him with Martian Manhunter or something like that when he releases. In that case, maybe all of that force is wasted because Shazam doesn't end up in one of your final teams. So you just want to be really careful, because early on in the game, you're going to get a lot of these AC/DC shards, but again, they're going to start drying up, and you're going to kind of regret investing in characters that you're no longer using anymore, like let's say Green Arrow, Red Hood, characters that looked really good really early, but now that you've gotten your mythic pluses or you've gotten your mythics up and going, you're using them less and less. So just kind of keep that in mind. So let's go to the tiers right now. The first tier is your skill-based force stuff. So this is going to depend on the character and how much you use the character. These are very, very great, places to use your force, because they can make those skills a lot better, but you do need to understand what you're doing with these upgrades. So if it's something like Freeze Breath, the cooldown of Freeze Breath is going to reduce by 1.2 seconds, right? Some of these things are going to be really hard to understand, like how much better that's going to be. Does that mean every X seconds you're going to see them using Freeze Breath or not? So some of these are going to be harder to really determine, is this a good upgrade or not? But some of the other ones are going to be pretty easy to figure out if they're good, right? So like Superman's attack increases by 8%, right? This one, 100% an easy, grab and go to increase your attack. Whereas the other one, it's kind of hard to determine, like, should I put a bunch into it? Because is that return on decreasing by 0.22 seconds or something really going to be worth it? So some of these are going to be hard. Again, I think with the character breakdowns, I'll have more information on those to help you out on the specific characters. But you do want to look at these because there's a lot of really good ones that are going to increase the skills for that particular character. And usually these give you the biggest bang for your buck when you're investing your force. So I'm going to skip over to Raven real quick because I can explain the other stuff a little bit easier specifically with this character. So now that we've already talked about the skills, the big skills on your force tree, now we're going to talk about the percentage bonuses on your skill tree. So when it comes to a character like Raven, you can see that I've done the healing up because she's one of my big healers on my Justice League Dark team. So having that plus 7.5% healing is huge on my healer. Another one that I have over here is going to be my attack. So these are the things you want to look at. You want to look at the percentage boosts traits that are on your force tree here. So again, those are going to be your tier 2. So your tier 1 was look at all the skills. Is there anything that increases the big skills I'm using constantly? Second one is going to be the percentage boost. Again, 10% attack is going to give you way more than adding like plus 100 to your attack, right? The flat stat, which we'll get to in the next tier. So you want to just focus in on these different percentage boosts and understand the character. So the reason why I picked Raven is I want to go back to her skills real quick. And if we look at her healing skill, we'll see that her particular skill heals 475% of Raven's attack. So it's important to kind of note how their skills work to understand what of those force tree pieces are going to actually help. So with Raven, the healing helps a lot, right? It's going to be more healing, but also to get more healing, we need the attack to go up. So that's where we've also invested in our attack. So the attack's also going to help taking down enemies, but also increase the amount that we can heal. So it's very, very important in this game to understand the kit, all the skills when it comes to your character, because all of these pieces are going to be intertwined with that. So the last tier that I kind of mentioned was your flat stats. And these are going to be things like this, the attack plus 150, right? This one's only 1. It's probably fine to invest in a few of these when they're like 1 and 2 and things like that. But once they start getting up to 15 or 20, you need to be kind of really looking at, do I put that in there or do I not? If it's one of your main characters, so again, I always really look at what is my main 5 character team that I use a lot. And that's where I'm going to probably invest the most of my stuff. But keep in mind, right now you can see I have 700 AC/DC shards, but those are going to go by real quick when I start taking skills and I start taking some of these pieces. So you can see like this is 50 to get the healing up once we get to that point. We've got 32 on this one, 40 on this one. So they go really quickly once you start to really invest in quite a few different characters, and these just increase with every single level. So you do need to understand what's going to be the best use of your AC/DC points, the shards within here. But your flat stats are always at the bottom, but they're not always bad to invest in, right? And the other thing I'll say is your flat stats tend to be something like attack, your HP really being your 2 main flat stats there, or your resistance and things like that. So these are some of those things to kind of think about how you want to invest into them. Again, flat stats being at the bottom. So your main skills, then your percentage boost, then your flat stats. And realistically in the flat stats, if they're going to be somebody doing a lot of attack or their skill, like Raven wants more attack, then you want to focus on attack. But if it's going to be one of your tanks, so maybe like a Dr. Fate, he's going to get increased shields based on his HP, his health, things like that. So maybe after you've already done all the other ones and you get the flat stats, maybe for that particular character, you focus on health first and then your attack. So these are going to be kind of choices that are hard to determine. But I would just say kind of think through it, figure out where you want to do it. Find those 5 characters you really want to invest in first. Figure out which of those are going to be the best. And again, hopefully in the upcoming weeks, I'll have a bunch of these different character breakdowns and I can give you some more knowledge on these specific characters and how I would invest my force into those. And maybe that'll help you in the future. But I did want to just throw this video together and focus in on those 3 areas, because again, I think when we talk about how do we improve our experience with the game, how do we make stronger teams and things like that, these things I just mentioned are very important. Making sure you understand the stars related to a character. Sure, 5 red stars on your character is always going to be the best way of doing it, but definitely identifying those skills, understanding the different star points that you want to end at, whether that's 2 blue, 3 blue, all 5 white, purple, gold, whatever it is with the particular character is going to make a difference. And, you know, the role of the character, because maybe your healer, you only need 5 white stars, you only need 2 blue stars, whatever it is. And you don't have to go as much, but then you put the rest of your investment in your damage dealer, like your Constantine. Maybe your Zatanna only goes up to 5 white stars, but your Constantine goes up to, you know, gold, right? Understanding those different principles around the skills and the power are going to really help you. So I hope this video really helped you guys. And if you have any questions or anything like that, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. If you have any tips and tricks based on just characters themselves, like I said, I'm going to be doing some breakdowns on all the different aspects of this game. I'm just starting with some of the basics in these first few videos because I think a lot of these things people just kind of breeze over and they're not really thinking through. So I just wanted to throw it out there as I've kind of deep dived on this game, watching a lot of content and trying to spread that information out there. So if you have any tips, especially when it comes to force, how you're investing your force, what you think is the most important, definitely let me know down below. And I can't wait to get those other videos out soon. So if you haven't already done it, guys, make sure you hit that like button, the subscribe button, all the good stuff so that this video can get out there to more people. And we'll have another video coming out next week, like I said, diving into the armory, how to create your weapons and all of that. So if you want to check that out, definitely stay tuned to the channel. And until next time, guys, y'all take it easy.